Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Danielle Fisher, and I'm the event manager here at ECO Canada. And today's session is called Railroads Presents the BEP Program. Before we start, I would like to take a moment to recognize the traditional Indigenous lands where ECO Canada's office is based in Calgary. At ECO Canada, we're committed to working towards respectful acknowledgement, collaboration, and reconciliation with Indigenous peoples across Canada. This starts with acknowledging our honor and privilege to live and work within the Treaty 7 territory. Today, we are presenting from the city of Calgary, home to the Métis Nation of Alberta Region 3. We would also like to take this time to acknowledge traditional territories and oral practices of the Niitsitapi, home of the Blackfoot Confederacy, which includes the Siksika, the Piikani, the Kainai First Nations, and the Tsuut'ina and Goodstoney, which include the Chiniki, Bearspaw, and Wesley First Nations. Before we start, there are a few housekeeping guidelines for today's session to ensure that everyone can enjoy and participate in our session effectively. All participants are muted, so please check your audio settings to ensure that you can hear us properly. If you're experiencing any technical issues, please use the question box and select ECO Canada, the organizer, and I will do all that I can to resolve the issue. Today's webinar is being recorded and will be made available on demand to you within the next 24 hours. Everyone who registered for the webinar will receive an email with a link to the video. Any questions that you have about the presentation or today's topic can be submitted through the chat box or question box. We will have dedicated time after the presentation to answer any questions from the audience. Finally, we really want to know what you think about our webinars and how we can keep improving. You'll be sent a short survey after the webinar ends. Please let us know what you think or if you have any comments or suggestions about the webinar. ECO Canada's vision is to build the world's leading environmental workforce. ECO Canada seeks to help environmental workers succeed at each step of their career journey. To do this, ECO Canada has developed programs tailored to individuals at different stages of their career. For those looking to enter the environmental workforce, ECO Canada provides training through the BEP Program and accreditation for environmental programs at post-secondary institutions. ECO Canada also provides opportunities for new workers to break into the environmental sector through wage funding for co-op students and recent post-secondary graduates. For those already employed as environmental workers, ECO Canada provides the environmental professional and environmental professional in training certifications and EPT students. Lastly, ECO Canada provides opportunities for those with vast experience as environmental workers to provide guidance and direction to ECO Canada's products and programs through advisory committees and emeritus membership. I would like to introduce Vance Boisjoli. Vance is the school manager at the School of Environment and Sustainability in the Faculty of Social and Applied Sciences at RRU. Next, we have Chris Ling. Chris explores planning and landscape in human environments. His main areas of research are sustainable community development, quality of life and vitality, and urban, post-industrial, and multifunctional landscapes. At Royal Roads, he teaches sustainable development and is co-program head for the MSc and Environmental Management program. Over to you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much, Danielle, and welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us today for this webinar. We're going to be talking about the Bachelor of Arts and the Bachelor of Science in Environmental Practice, or often what we call the BEP program. So in a few moments, Dr. Chris Ling, who is our program head, will be speaking more about the program. I'm going to talk a little bit about Royal Roads itself. And we are on the lands of the Algonquin speaking people. So I want to take this moment to recognize these lands that are part of the Songhees and Esquimalt First Nations. And we have great gratitude that we live and work here. This is an area of great significance with much beauty, and it's a place where Indigenous and non-Indigenous students, faculty, and staff come together, and we're grateful to be here. So today, I'm going to talk a little bit about the Royal Roads University experience. We'll give you some program-specific information. We'll also talk about the application program process for the BEP program and answer any questions you have. So to start, just a couple of images. Now, while the BEP program is online, students are always welcome to visit our campus here. We have a beautiful campus, and you can see some pictures here. Hatley Castle is one of the famous historical landmarks that falls on Royal Roads campus. The bottom left, you'll see the Esquimalt Lagoon, which was traditionally a great area used for fishing and gathering of food and sustenance. Also, lots of parks and beautiful spaces on campus. But as you know, in the bottom right-hand corner, Royal Roads actually is also an online university. So why do we suggest Royal Roads? Well, we see things a little bit differently. We see that life is a qualification. So what that means is that we actually look at life experiences in addition to your academic achievements. So we do have some flexible admissions packages and policies for students who are maybe not our traditional university students, but have had some great life experience that qualifies them to be in the bachelor's program. We also really believe that learning is based on life. So we want to really make sure that we are integrating a lot of real world opportunities and experiential learning opportunities where students can connect with people within their own communities and with each other. And the connections here are important to us. So we believe in forming connections for life. And that can be with the faculty that are teaching you because they will know your name. We have very small class sizes, but also with the other students that you're in class with. And we find that a lot of our students say one of the most important parts of their program is connecting with each other and learning more about different environmental fields and practices. Royal Roads has the designation of being an Ashoka University or an Ashoka accredited university, which means that our vision is develop and inspire leadership at all levels for an individual or an organization. And our mission is to provide relevant, innovative, and transformative learning experiences for those wishing to develop applied skills in a dynamic context. There are very few universities in Canada that have this designation, so we're very proud to be recognized as such. So now it's time for us to learn a little bit more about the program. And it's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Chris Ling, who's our program head.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for joining us here today. As Vance said, I am the program head for the Bachelor's Environmental Practice, and I'm just going to give a brief overview of how the program works and how it fits in with, how it can fit in with your life and your capacity and your opportunities while you're taking the program. And I know we've said there's a question session at the end, and of course there will be, but if you do have some questions about the material that's currently being presented, I'm happy to take them as we go along. So Danielle from Eco Canada will be monitoring that. Yes, BEP is a fully online program, which means that it doesn't require you to travel to Royal Roads campus at any point to take courses. We don't have any courses within the program where you have to be present on campus. Additionally, although the Bachelor Environmental Practice program does allow you to take courses from other institutions, courses that are run by Royal Roads don't require you to be, present at your computer at any particular time in order to take part in a live session. There may be, sessions that are live, but they will always be recorded and made available to everybody after the fact. So you can accommodate the learning within your sort of professional and your life schedules as you need to. So how do these online courses work? Well, here's a sort of a handy infographic that kind of illustrates the type of activities that could take place in any given course. Not all courses will involve all these facets, but they'll involve some of them, and how they're put together will be dependent on the instructor. But all our courses, by and large, have some kind of open discussion that will allow you to interact with your peers in the class, will interact with the instructor. Sometimes those will be very open, sometimes they'll be directed by posting of questions and discussion ideas, and sometimes they'll be split into smaller units because part of the learning and teaching model that we have here at Royal Roads puts a strong emphasis on teamwork and team activities. This being one of the things that employers tell us are vital skills for the workplace. And also, when we have feedback from employers who've hired some of our students, one thing they often say is how well our students cope in these kind of intense team working environments. So, we very much incorporate that as part of our learning. Other types of activities that will be typical features of our courses are obviously readings, a vital part of any program, but also more reflective activities that allow you to reflect on those readings and apply the learnings from those readings to particular situations. Often courses will involve assignments in which you're encouraged to bring learning from your own experience, from your own professional context or your own life experience into that assignment. So applying some of the academic knowledge to practical situations. As I've mentioned, all our courses tend to involve a significant amount of team activity and activity which allows you to get feedback from and give feedback to the other folks in the course. One of the things Vance mentioned just now was the importance of reflecting real life in the classroom for us at Royal Roads. And so this is one of the ways in which you can sort of show how some of the concepts you may be discussing in a course have impacted or impacted by some aspect of experience that you have. And of course, feedback from the instructor is something that's vital to any learning experience, and all our instructors really are aim to give us a good, rich feedback based on the learning outcomes of the course to allow you to really use that feedback to learn and gain ability as you go along. So that's the sort of the building blocks that go into online courses at Royal Roads. We could move to the next slide there, Vance, please. Thank you. We do have this Bachelor of Arts and a Bachelor of Science program, and very much we manage them and treat them as a single program. So, as far as we're concerned, you're all Bachelor of Environmental Practice students. Now, whether you're doing the BA or the BSc will depend on a number of things. It could be to do with your background, and we'll talk about the admission requirements a little bit later. It could be to do with what you are hoping to do in your career and in your future endeavors after taking the Bachelor of Environmental Practice. And the core program, which I think we probably have a little bit more detail about later, but the core program is 30 credits, which is common between the BA and the BSc. So regardless of whether you're taking the arts or the science stream, you will do the same 30 credits to start your program. And the key thing to note here is we start the program at what would be a third year of a typical undergraduate program. So to come into the Bachelor of Environmental Practice, then you need to have either 60 credits of first and second year courses, whether that's as a diploma or something like that, or you started an undergraduate, a Bachelor undergraduate program and didn't complete it, or whatever it happens to be. And then you bring that to us and start in the third year. So it's what we call a completion program. If you've already taken some third or fourth year courses, either as an advanced diploma, if you're in Ontario, for example, or again, you've started an undergraduate bachelor's program and didn't complete it, then depending on the nature of those credits, you may be able to transfer up to 15 credits into the BEP program, which enables you to get a head start on the completion of your degree. As I've noted, you can take designated courses from universities across Canada. So we keep a database of courses that are relevant to the environmental practice program from universities across the country that are available online. So we only list other online courses. And so there's a huge flexibility in the second part of the BEP program to take a whole variety of different subjects and topics depending on what your goals are for the program. And then to finish, you take either a practicum or a research paper capstone course to complete your studies. So the practicum is 75 hours of appropriate work. You are allowed to do that work if you're currently employed. You're allowed to do that at your current employer. We do, however, ask that the duties and the tasks you are doing are new. So it's not just the question of carrying on your existing work and getting the credit for it. There have to be something different about it. Or a research paper, which is a more academic focused exercise. It's worth 6 credits rather than 3 credits. And that can be pretty much on any topic that you care to discuss, with the understanding that you're incorporating your learning up to this point in the program into that analysis of whatever the question is you have. So that's kind of how it's structured. You know, what we're hoping to achieve, or what we're hoping that you will achieve while you're in the program, is a development of your analytical and critical thinking abilities, but really focused on gaining environmental knowledge and understanding some of the questions and challenges that are faced professionals working in the environmental field. You know, what's also very important is that because we do have this you know, focus on teamwork and working with your peers and colleagues within the classroom, online though it may be, that you build up a diverse network of peers while you're in the program, and that's almost as valuable as the individual learning. You know, that's a key part of our model here at Royal Roads. And we have worked with Eco Canada to develop this curriculum. So it aligns very much with what has been reported as what the environmental professions need in graduates in the workforce. So it's very much geared towards people advancing or joining the environmental professions, and so aligns with Eco Canada's occupational standards for the environmental sector.
I just have a question for you here,
Sure.
Chris. I'm just going to jump in for a second. Michael's asking, can we do the BEP as a mixed arts science program?
That's a good question. I mean, yes and no is the rather unhelpful answer straight off the bat. By which I mean, you do have to you know, state whether you're going to do a Bachelor of Arts or a Bachelor of Science from the get-go. However, as I've noted, the half the program is a common curriculum for the two, and then with your the electives, what we call internally the block B of the program, you can take you know, there's a list for BSc students, there's a list for BA students, and you can take one from the other list as part of your program. If in addition you particularly want to do a specific course that's not listed, you can always ask for like special permission to take that, and you know, there'll be, you know, provided you have a justification for doing that under the program that you're taking, that's often certainly permissible. No, you can't sort of take a straight sort of, I guess what you'd call it, a Bachelor of Environmental Practice. You do have to state whether you're doing a BA or a BSc. There is that flexibility inherent within the program structure. to allow you to meet whatever goals that you have. So it's certainly worth a discussion if you have, if you have more specific questions. Probably not something we want to sort of engage in right now, but certainly by all means follow up with us after if you have some specific sort of goals in mind, and we can help out with that.
Awesome. He's also wondering if he can do both a paper and a practicum. I don't know if you're going to get into this later on, or
no, unfortunately not. It's an either or really. So that's saying, you could, you can always do both, but it will be additional credits to what you need. So you couldn't do both a research paper and a practicum within the context of just a straight sort of 60 credit third and fourth year program that the BEP is. But there's nothing necessarily stopping you from doing both and getting extra credits, although that wouldn't necessarily seem hugely efficient way of going about it. But yeah, unfortunately, no, it's pretty much an either or situation.
Okay, wonderful. And I'll certainly hook you and Michael up after the webinar. Thank you so much.
Okay, so well, who do we have who taking part in the Bachelor of Environmental Practice? And really, it's a long list of different types of folks, all of whom have successfully navigated the program to date. So we've had people who are already working in the environmental field, and maybe they've reached a ceiling in their career progression, or have they're doing fine in their career, but have always got that nagging thing that they never finished an undergraduate degree, which they'd like to do, and so they come and do that with us. So it means they can carry on in those careers while they're doing it. We also have folks who are looking to transition into the environmental field. So their original undergraduate education and the work they're doing isn't necessarily in the environmental sector, but they want to transition into doing that sort of work. Or maybe they can see opportunities in their company or their professional life for that kind of work in the future, and they want to be ready for it. Certainly, it's one of the industries, the environmental professions in general, that's growing very rapidly currently. So it's a good thing to be ready for. We also have folks who are wanting to move. Maybe they're doing quite a common pathway is someone who's got maybe a technical diploma from a college and has been working very much as a technician in the field, for example, wishes to move more into a sort of management or leadership or policy related area within the same sector, and having a BEP degree can help with that. And then there's people who already have a degree in some other field, but wish to get a second degree focusing on the environment, often for those similar reasons of wanting to transition their career, or environmental issues are increasingly important part of their work, and they wish to have a greater understanding of what those issues are. So hopefully many of you on the call here today fall into some of those categories, and definitely I would suggest that we might have something to offer you at the Bachelor's of Environmental Practice. And the flexibility is very much important to us as well. So the next couple of slides we have here are little case studies. Obviously the names have been changed and all that, but these are actual pathways that students have taken in the environmental practice program. So these are really a couple of case studies. So this first example is someone who's completed 2 years of an undergraduate degree, and then for whatever reason moved out of that degree program, but now wishes to finish a degree and launch into the environmental professions as quickly as possible. She also needs to work and maintain a volunteer position, and has chosen to do a Bachelor of Science in Environmental Practice because of her the flexibility to align with her interests, and also to earn a degree in this example, 33 months while balancing work and life priorities. So Cindy took what we call the Block A core courses in years 1 and 2 of her degree, and that gives you a list there of what those core courses are. It's not exactly a fixed curriculum, but you know, most people will take most of these courses in common. Then in years 2 and 3, she took the electives that she required. And chose those topics for courses, so things like environmental impact assessment and global climate change and soil and water conservation, amongst others. And those were taught at institutions including Royal Roads and other places. And then completed a research paper in her 3rd year to round off her course. Now, the next case study example we have is somebody who's taking the Bachelor of Arts in Environmental Practice, but doing it in a very different way. So this is somebody who has reached a sort of limit in his career to date due to having a college diploma, and so wants to upgrade his academic knowledge in order to sort of continue on his career progression. Now, one key thing about this example is the person we're calling John had a low grade point average, which didn't meet the requirements for entry to the BEP. However, because we have our flexible admission policy that recognizes both academic and professional achievement, he applied under the flexible assessment opportunity. And because of that work in the environmental field that they already have, they successfully got a place in the program because the work he'd done and the references he had and his life experience meant that low GPA was not a barrier to entry. However, you know, because he has a busier professional and personal life, John doesn't feel like he can take the program as fast as Cindy did in 33 months. And therefore has taken up a sort of longer pathway through the program and taken it over 6 years instead of sort of 2.5, 3 years. So he took those Block A core courses in years 1, 2, and 3, and then his electives in years 4, 5, and 6, completing in year 6 with a practicum, where he's, you know, maybe taking an opportunity that hasn't been open to him in his career to date, and use that to advance his career further. So those are 2 illustrative examples of real people that have been through the BEP program very successfully, and the sort of the different pathways and the different topics they've managed to cover along the way. So we'll now talk a little bit about the application process, unless anybody has any questions about those pathways that they want to explore first.
We did have a question from an international student. I don't know if you're going to touch on this later, but they're wondering if they can apply for the BEP program and what the specific admission requirements are for international students.
I'm not sure if we'll actually cover specific international admission requirements. So I would certainly, we'll cover the general ones, which will of course apply. In general, I mean, we're more than happy to have international students. We don't tend to get very many, for the simple reason that because it's an online program, if you're seeking to come to Canada, then it won't help with that process because you don't have to be in the classroom. You know, for a lot of international students in our experience, that's been a barrier. However, if you're looking to take the program, but you're wanting to stay within your home country, then I see it would be quite a positive option for you. So the things that will be different for an international student coming into the BEP would be, firstly, they'd have to get their international credential assessed to make sure that, you know, we'd understand what the equivalent GPA would be from a Canadian perspective. Also, you'd have to do a language assessment, and in order to ensure you're up to our language requirements. And in addition to that, I would strongly recommend you take a look at Royal Roads' international student pages on the website, because you know, those will provide much fuller information and give you the ability to contact folks in our international admissions office who are able to give you more detailed information.
And I can certainly get them this information after the webinar. Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. All right. Okay, so as we've mentioned, we do have these two modes of admission. So I'll talk a little first about the standard admissions. So these are people who meet our academic requirements for entry. And what we asked for both the BA and BSc is a minimum of 60 post-secondary credits with a minimum GPA of B from a recognized post-secondary institution. We did also many years ago have a certificate of environmental practice at Royal Roads University. That's no longer offered, hasn't done for a number of years. However, if you do happen to be one of the people that took that program, then if you've completed that certificate, that also counts towards entry into the Bachelor of Environmental Practice as well. For the BSc, it's essentially the same. However, you need 18 credits that are specifically science credits, 9 of which at the second year level. Now, we are relatively flexible on what we consider to be science. So it doesn't have to be, you know, all kind of chemistry or something like that. And so we do assess that on a case-by-case basis. So sometimes people say, you know, some typical ones where people have maybe got sort of some geography background or things like that, where they're not sure whether each individual course would count as science or not. It's certainly worth asking us that question and seeing where you stand. And our admissions advisors can certainly help you with that. But we don't have any specific subjects that need to be covered. Just that you have this sort of science in your background in order to qualify for the BSc. And so for flexible admissions, so these are folks who have not met the academic requirements under standard admission. So that means either their GPA is lower than a B, or they haven't completed the requisite number of credits at the first and second year level. So you can apply under flexible admission, which means that we have a look at what skills and knowledge and experiences you have in other parts of your life, and use a combination of what academic experience you do have with that non-academic experience to see if you are going to be able to succeed in the program. So typically, that means you've got about 5 years of relevant professional work experience, or you know, good quality volunteer experience, and can therefore demonstrate that you have, through that life experiences, the competencies expected of a graduate of a 2-year diploma program at a college, for example. If all you're missing is a grade point average, then, you know, the sort of rule of thumb is that we would require at least 3 years of work or relevant volunteer experience to counteract that. So, you know, if you know, you were going through some life stuff while you were taking that college diploma and didn't succeed as you would have liked, then you know, if you've managed to sort of you know, build up additional skills in the subsequent period, then we can certainly consider you under flexible admission. And we have many students who fall under this category, and you know, by and large, they succeed just as much as people who've come through the standard admission process have.
I do have a question.
Sure.
Courtney's wondering if there's a list online of the approved courses available at other universities. I think you touched on that earlier.
Yeah, so if you go to Royal Roads' website and look for the program, whether it's the BSc Environmental Practice or the BA, then under that it has a list of the courses that are available, and it's got sort of an easy to navigate list of courses that are available at Royal Roads, and then it also has I think, so I'm just looking at it right now. We used to be able to link to a sort of list of courses that are available, but it doesn't look like we. Oh yeah, so here it is. So if you look on the program overview pages for the Bachelor of Environmental Practice, then you will see there is a program schedule posted, which are PDF documents, which essentially for the next intake list the courses that are pre-approved for taking as part of the BEP program. So we do review those lists on an annual basis to make sure that there's still courses which are running, and that they are still of interest to our students. And so we add some courses, take some courses out each year. So I can't guarantee, depending on if and when you start with us on the BEP program, that the listed courses will be the same. However, they're the ones that are currently pre-approved. Now, if there are courses which you know about, which you'd be interested in taking, and they're not on that list, you can always ask us for permission to take those courses, because there are a number of reasons why they might not be listed up to this point. We may just simply not be aware of them. If they are, for example, face-to-face courses at a home institution that you can attend, but they're not online, we won't have listed those deliberately because they're not online, but that doesn't mean to say you can't take them. You just have to ask us permission to do that.
Okay, and Courtney says thank you, and she also has a follow-up question here.
Sure.
Is there a limitation on the number of these courses outside of RRU that you can take?
No. There isn't. That's one of the things about the flexibility of this program, in that we don't have limitations on courses from elsewhere. And so you can I mean, you have to do 30 credits block A courses, which is all courses from Royal Roads, but for the 24 or 27 credits of block B, depending on which capstone course you take, you can take none, some, or all of them at Royal Roads or other institutions.
Wonderful. And that's it for Courtney. Thank you.
Okay. So I think Vance, over to you for the dates and stuff.
Yes, so to apply, you apply online. There is an application fee of $134.01. Basically, when you're applying, you need to have your official transcripts ready. If you are applying for flexible admissions, so remember the admission that is based on kind of your life experience, we would ask for official transcripts, a detailed resume, and a personal statement, so we understand what the reason is, the reason being for you taking this course, and then of course 2 letters of reference. All this information is on the website, but we're just sharing it here. And it's important for you to know that we actually have 3 intakes a year. I just have the next 2 listed. Our next intake is January 8th, 2024. Now we have passed the deadline for that one. It was actually on October 8th. However, our admissions department will look at applications now, and if they're able to get you in there and they have space, they may be able to get you in January. If not, our next cohort is May 6th, 2024, and we're asking for applications by February 6th. So there's a couple options here. We're always taking applications. That's where we're a little bit different than other universities. We have rolling admissions, which means that you can apply at any time, and if you get accepted, we'll put you in the next intake depending on availability. So we do have some people that are still applying right now, hoping to get in January, but it is a bit of a tight timeline because we have to have everything submitted right away, which includes transcripts, or if it's flexible admission, the other pieces that were required. So that's a little bit about that. We also have a number of different services for our students, including financial resources. There, if you need to explore how you'll pay for your schooling, there are a lot of options out there, including loans and bursaries and scholarships. There is a page on the Royal Roads website that is about financial aids and awards. But if you're really wanting to just speak to someone, there's a couple of different options. One is we have email that we have a team that will respond to your questions via email, and that is learn.more@royalroads, all one word, .ca. Or we have a couple of phone numbers that you can call if you're in the BC area. It's 250-391-2528, or anywhere in North America, it's 1-877-778-6227. So those numbers are here. Now, our enrollment services take all sorts of questions. So if you're really not sure if this is the right program for you, or you've got more questions, or there's something that's not clear, there are people on our team that will be able to answer those questions and help you out with that. So we hope that you are interested. We know that we've had many students that have said this has been a very valuable program for them. So we appreciate you learning a little bit more about it today. Now, I think it's time for us to open it up to some more questions.
Okay, wonderful presentation, very informative. We do have some questions. Michael is wondering, what are the co-op opportunities with this program?
So we don't have a formal co-op program integrated within the BEP, and there's a number of logistical and technical reasons why that is the case. There is the only real option is the practicum option, where you do get the opportunity to work on something with a potential employer or somebody from the environmental professions. So as I said, no formal co-op component, mainly because of the delivery processes that we have and such like. So yeah, just the practicum.
Okay. And then we have a question. What kinds of facilities or resources are available to BEP students, such as labs or research centers?
Well, none specifically, because it is an online program, so we don't have any space dedicated for BEP students on campus. So if you are interested in an education that's focused around laboratory work, for example, then you'd be better served by looking into our on-campus or blended Bachelor of Science in Environmental Sciences program that we have here at the school, which does have dedicated lab space and field instruction and all that kind of good stuff. So we do focus very much on the online aspects of this particular program, which does mean that we don't have those resources specifically available. That saying, as part of a student within the Bachelor Environmental Practice program, you will get access to a variety of faculty that work here at the university, are engaged in both lab and field kind of work, which they'll bring into the classroom as far as they can in an online environment.
Mm-hmm. And I actually have a question that I think people might want to hear about. And what are the career opportunities that are available to BEP's graduates?
Yeah, so we've had a huge variety of people through the BEP program who've gone on to do all sorts of different things. I mean, exactly what would be open to you as an individual as a result of taking this program will very much depend not only on your experience and the courses you take in the BEP, but also on what you have as your past experience, whether that's a college diploma or work experience or whatever. So it's difficult to tailor that response very easily. However, we've got people who've gone into environmental policy making, environmental consultancy, working for some of the big kind of consultancies like Stantec, for example. We've had folks who've gone to work for various natural resource companies in the, for example, oil and gas sector, mining sector, forestry sector. We have people who've gone and worked for First Nations communities. We've had folks who've gone on to work for municipalities and other levels of government. People who've gone to work for, you know, all sorts of kind of odd and quirky roles, like people who've gone into ecotourism, maybe working in the whale watching industry. People who've gone on to do obviously further education as well, gone on to do either our Masters of Environmental Practice, our graduate program that's related to the Bachelor of Environmental Practice, or other programs here at Royal Roads and elsewhere. You know, I would say probably your best bet is to actually go to the Eco Canada website and have a look at the career pages there, and you'll find that depending on your past experience and how you navigate the BEP program, there is a pathway for you into many of those careers that have been posted on that website.
Very interesting. That's the end of our questions for today. I think that this program sounds amazing. I think that anyone that's on this webinar right now would be bereft if they did not apply immediately. So I think that it sounds amazing. So thank you so much, gentlemen. Thank you for the webinar and for joining us today. And thank you to the audience. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate your time.